Welcome to Tarik Talk, a podcast exploring art, culture, and the stories that shape creative lives. I'm your host, Tarik Mendes, and each episode I sit down with artists and creative thinkers to talk about process, inspiration, and the moments that shape who we become. Thanks for being here. Let's get into today's episode. Welcome back to Tarik Talk. Walking into the Whitney Museum during the 2026 Biennial, you immediately feel that this is not a traditional exhibition. It's an environment. The space shifts from gallery to gallery, not just visually, but emotionally. Sound bleeds into image, light moves across surfaces, and the experience becomes immersive, almost cinematic. Within this atmosphere, the work of Basel Abbas and Ruanne Abou Rahme unfolds with quiet intensity. The Whitney Biennial has always been about capturing the present moment in American and diasporic art. In this edition, curated by Marcela Guerrero and Drew Sawyer, that moment feels especially complex, layered with questions of identity, displacement, connection, and memory. The exhibition brings together artists working across disciplines, creating a landscape defined not by fixed themes, but by mood, texture, and lived experience. And it's within this context that Abbas and Abou Rahme's work becomes deeply resonant. Their installation, Until We Became Fire and Fire Us, is a 3-channel video and sound environment that draws you in slowly. At first, it feels almost fragmented, images appearing and disappearing, sounds drifting in and out, text emerging only to dissolve again. But as you stay with it, a rhythm begins to form. The artists explore what they describe as collective feelings of love and longing, emotions shaped by the ongoing erasure of land and communities in Palestine. Rather than presenting a direct narrative, they build what they call forms of hauntings. The work doesn't tell you what to think, it surrounds you with traces, with echoes, with memory that refuses to disappear. There's a layering of time throughout the installation. You see drawings made by Abou Rahme's father in Jerusalem decades ago, placed alongside contemporary footage. These aren't just historical references, they feel alive, part of a continuous thread that connects past and present. The drawings carry a personal intimacy, while the moving images expand outward into landscape and collective experience. Sound plays a crucial role. Traditional songs weave through the space, blending with ambient audio and shifting tones. The sound doesn't simply accompany the visuals, it guides your emotional experience. At moments, it feels meditative. At others, it becomes heavy, almost overwhelming. You're not just watching the work, you're inside it. And then there are the images of plants. Indigenous plants that persist, that resist eradication, become a quiet but powerful presence throughout the installation. They function almost as witnesses, symbols of endurance, of continuity, of life that continues despite attempts to erase it. These images ground the work, connecting it to land, to ecology, to something deeply rooted. What makes this installation so powerful within the Whitney Biennial is how it embodies the exhibition's broader focus on relationality, on how we are connected to each other, to history, to place. Abbas and Abou Rahme's work doesn't isolate individual experience. It expands it into something collective, something shared. There's also a sense of fragmentation that reflects the present moment. Nothing is linear. Nothing is fully resolved. The images fade, the sounds shift, the narrative remains open, and in that openness, the work creates space for reflection, for emotion, for presence. The Whitney itself amplifies this experience. The architecture, the flow of the galleries, the movement between light and dark spaces, all of it shapes how you encounter the work. You move through the installation, not just as a viewer, but as a participant. And when you leave, the work lingers, not as a clear story, but as a feeling, a sense of memory, of absence, of persistence. Because in the context of the Whitney Biennial 2026, this installation isn't just about one place or one history, it becomes part of a larger conversation about what it means to exist, to remember, and to remain connected in a world that is constantly shifting. Thank you for spending this time with me on Tarik Talk. If this conversation resonated with you, don't forget to subscribe and share the episode. You can follow along on social media for behind-the-scenes moments, guest highlights, and what's coming next.